free to jump in the chat. We are recording this session. You should have just gotten a notification about this. We want to make sure that our folks who weren't able to join us tonight will have access to the recording. But again, just a little bit of housekeeping to get us started. Tonight, we're going to be talking a lot about financial aid and things to make sure you have ready to go on your way into the Ville this fall. So in terms of questions, feel free to use the Q&A feature that you'll see at the bottom of your screen for questions. We do have financial aid counselors in the room, as well as admissions and orientation folks to hopefully answer your questions tonight. As always, we're always available by email and phone should you have questions after the session. And before we get started, just a reminder to keep yourself on mute for the duration of the session. We love seeing the faces. We like to have that little bit of interaction as it relates to Zooms. But again, feel free to use those chat features. Myself and my colleagues across campus will be dropping some important links in there for you as the night progresses. But again, if you have those very specific questions about the presentation tonight, we would encourage you to use the Q&A feature. So we're going to jump in and get started. Really excited to have you guys here tonight. My name is Joni Klopp. I am the Director of Undergraduate Recruitment at Millersville University. I recognize a lot of these names. A lot of these names have come across my desk in file review. We visited a lot of your high schools. We're so excited that we are gearing up for the start of the semester. A little congratulations to all of you who have recently graduated as well. And those of you who have graduation this week and next week, don't forget to celebrate those accomplishments as we dive into these next steps of your enrollment process. And so in order to get started, I'm going to turn things right over to my colleague, Samantha, who's going to give us an overview on financial aid. Once we wrap up with financial aid, I'm going to jump back in with just some general reminders as it relates to upcoming dates, orientation, etc. So without further ado, Sam, I'm going to turn it right over to you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Samantha. I am one of the financial aid counselors in our office. I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about financial aid, what should have happened by now, what you need to do moving forward. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. I shared the wrong side. Joni, can you confirm that you guys can see my PowerPoint?
Looks great.
Okay, sounds good. So like I said, my name is Samantha or Sam. With me today, I have Brandon and Joey. They're in the chat helping me answer some questions. And we're all counselors and we're all very happy to welcome you all to Millersville. And we know that paying for college can be a little stressful. So hopefully the information that we give you today will help answer some of your questions. So jumping right in, I'm going to talk about what financial aid is, because it seems like this are the recordings. Okay. So the first type of financial aid I want to talk about is grants. It's free money that you do not need to pay back after you graduate. So it's sort of the best kind of money because you don't need to pay it back. It's based on financial need, which we need the FAFSA to determine. There is federal grants and state grants. Some of the federal ones are the Pell Grant or the SEOG grant. You should have seen these. Or you should have seen the Pell Grant when you did your FAFSA. It shows under your estimated aid. And then the state grant is the Pennsylvania State Grant. It's available to all PA residents who did their FAFSA before June 1st. If you have not received an email from FIA inviting you to apply through their portal called Grant Us, it's okay. They are still working through the backlog in their system. We should have, they should have all of those emails sent by the end of this month is their goal. If you guys have any questions about that, you can feel free to reach out to FIA directly, or you can contact our office and we can help answer any questions. There are also scholarships, are another form of free gift aid that you don't need to pay back. They come from two separate places. So internal scholarships are money that comes from Millersville. If you were awarded a scholarship, it'll be on your acceptance letter from the admissions office that Joni sends out. On there, it'll tell you what you were eligible for, and it'll tell you any renewal criteria that you need to be aware of. Once you are a Millersville student and you have a Millersville GPA after your first semester, you can apply to scholarships with our office through the Scholarship Universe portal. And those are for your second year and beyond. And then there's also external sources to find scholarships. So that's what you should be working on right now before you start in the fall. That can come from your high school, local libraries, or grocery stores, banks, hotels, places like that have resources for you. And we have a lot of information on our website that you can use to help identify those sources. And then you can also use our database called Scholarship Universe that has thousands of vetted scholarships for you so that you know that what you're applying to is a vetted source, and there isn't any risk of scams. And all of that is on our website if you go to millersville.edu/scholarships. And then we have loans, which is kind of like everyone's least favorite word in financial aid, but it is a form of financial aid. It is money you borrow upfront to be able to pay for your costs, and then you pay that back after graduation. There's a few different kinds. So federal loans include the subsidized, unsubsidized, and the Parent Plus loan. Subsidized and unsubsidized are both in the student's name. They will automatically be offered to you if you completed the FAFSA. The subsidized loan is a need-based loan. So it's interest-free while you're in school, and you would only be eligible for it if after you did the FAFSA, you were determined to have financial need. Both of these have low fixed interest rates, and you have to be enrolled at least half time to be eligible for them. And then the Parent Plus loan is a parent federal loan in the parent's name that benefits the student. We have a lot of information on all of these on our website, and we go into great detail. So anything you need to know is on there, or you can reach out to us for more help. There's also private loans, which are in the student's name with a credit-worthy cosigner. And that can be from any lender that offers student loans. And then we have a list on our website of eligible private loans that you can use. So now that I talked a little bit about all of the different pieces of financial aid, this is kind of the summary. By now, you should have all received your financial aid offer letter if you did your FAFSA. If you have not received it and you did your FAFSA, feel free to message us because there might be something that's missing that's preventing us from packaging you. Either your FAFSA is incomplete or we might need additional information before we can send you a financial aid offer. But once you have it, this is what it'll look like. At the very top, it'll give you your expected enrollment, your expected housing, and your state residency. If any of this is wrong, the information on your offer letter may be incorrect, and you'll need to follow up with admissions or with our office to get that updated. Then you'll see the estimated direct charges. This is what Millersville is going to bill you for. So if you're an on-campus student, you're going to get a bill for tuition and fees, housing, and a meal plan in the fall and then again in the spring. And this is just the estimates. We then have the gift aid, which, like I said earlier, that is the preferred money because it's free. We have a student who's receiving the Pell Grant, they're receiving the PA State Grant, and then they're receiving EAP, which is a military benefit. And then right here, you see your balance before or without loans. So that's just this number minus your gift aid. And then we have your offered loans over here. We have the subsidized and unsubsidized that I talked about before. And then this student borrowed a Sallie Mae private loan. So after all of their financial aid, their balance still comes out to $5,782. And there are different options to help you cover that. You can make a payment in full with the Office of Student Accounts as soon as you get your bill. You can set up a payment plan. You can set those up now. You can go up to 5 months at this point, but they go up to 6 if you set them up ahead of time. And there's no interest with that. It's a $25 or a $30 enrollment fee. And that's it. And you set it up, it goes automatically out of your bank account. Basically set it and forget it. And then there are different loan options, the plus loan and the private loan that I mentioned before. And all of this information will be on your offer letter. These links here on the side are videos that our office has created to assist you in understanding the offer letter. This first video is one of our counselors going through step by step what each of these mean. And there's different tips and how-tos on everything you need to do. And it's all very detailed for you. So then I know that we want to talk about what we actually need to pay to go to college, right? That's like the big question. So I broke it down into two pieces for you. The first part is just understanding what the cost of attendance is. So that number is made up of direct charges and indirect charges. Direct charges is what Millersville is going to send you a bill for. So on July 11th, you're going to check your email and you're going to say, it's going to say that you have a statement from the Office of Student Accounts, and it's going to be billing you for tuition and fees and a housing and a meal plan if you're living on campus. If you're a commuter, you're just going to have tuition and fees. And then indirect expenses are not going to be on there because we don't know what you're going to need for books or for transportation expenses or personal expenses, but it's things you need to keep in mind in case you need to borrow money to pay for those expenses once you're here. And so to explain that a little better, I have an example of our cost of attendance, our estimated cost of attendance for next year. So if you're a Pennsylvania resident, you're looking at the left-hand side. If you're a out-of-state resident, you're looking at the right-hand side. On the top here, we have charges billed by Millersville. So those are direct charges. And then if they're on campus, off campus, or commuter, then at the bottom, we have other possible expenses. Again, this is not billed to you, but it's just there to remind you that that's money that you might need in the future. And then the same thing for out-of-state residents. I do want to mention these are still estimates. Don't go off of these entirely. Our Council of Trustees normally sets our costs in early to mid-July, so you'll have your final figures when you get your bill on July 11th. But for now, these provide a very close estimate of what you're looking at for the fall semester. And so these are important dates. So if you're on your computer, take a screenshot of this or pull out your phone and take a picture, because this is what all of your parents or anybody helping you pay for college and all of you need to have saved on your calendar. Fall 2024 bills will be sent to you on July 11th, and they will be due the first day of the semester, which is August 26th. Okay. The semester will start, you'll finish paying your bill, and then you'll register for classes in early November. Then you're going to get your spring bill on November 21st, and that will be due on the first day of the spring term on January 21st. If they're not paid by their due date, the Office of Student Accounts assesses a $100 payment extension fee. It's a one-time fee that they charge because the bill hasn't been paid by the time that it was supposed to. Okay. And if you have any questions about billing or anything like that, you can call the Office of Student Accounts and they'll be happy to help you set up a payment plan or answer any of your questions. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the requirements that you're all going to need to complete in the coming weeks. So if you go to the logins page of Millersville, it's millersville.edu/logins. There are two portals that you need to be very familiar with. It's the MyVille portal and the Max portal. Both of them are intertwined to help you fill out your financial aid requirements, and I have a screenshot for you of what they look like. So this is MyVille. If you click on the Finances tab, it's going to show you all of your financial aid information. At the top, you'll see if you're eligible for financial aid, and then at the bottom, you're going to see your requirements. As you can see here, it says 24-25 age year, and it says that I have 3 outstanding requirements and that I've already done 2 of them. One of them was my FAFSA, so that means Millersville got my FAFSA and everything is okay. The other one is terms and conditions, which is just something you need to complete every year. It's the terms and conditions of your financial aid. It's the fine print that it's very important we all read. And then there's a few other requirements that I'll talk about in a minute, but this is where you would find all of that information. From here, you can see your progress, your financial aid awards, your financial aid status, anything you need to know. This page will take you to wherever it is you need to find the information. The authorization to release information form is very important for you all to fill out. This is what allows us to speak to anybody that is not you once you become a Millersville student. So right now, if Joni is an incoming student to Millersville and her mom calls our office, we can talk to her because she's not currently a student here. After the first day of the semester, we need this form on file to be able to talk to Joni's mom. If this isn't on file, we can't release any of your information. When you complete this, you say who you are, who the person you want to give access to is, and you can also fill this out and say that you don't want us to talk to anyone, which is perfectly fine. That is your right to do that. That just means that if anybody is calling on your behalf, then you will need to be on the phone to give us authorization to speak. This is only for your financial aid. We cannot talk about grades. We can't talk about billing. We can't talk about anything like that. Billing has a separate authorization process that my colleagues are going to put some information for you on the chat to set it up. But this is just for financial aid purposes. So for our office to be able to talk to mom, dad, teacher, uncle, aunt, whoever is trying to help you through this process. On your Max portal, you'll also be able to accept or decline your loans. So if you are interested in using your federal subsidized or unsubsidized loans, you'll have to come into your Max portal, follow the steps, and then you'll see this here. You'll see offered pending for your subsidized and unsubsidized if you were offered both. And then once you click the drop down, you can accept or decline. And you have to remember to hit submit decision or it won't go through to our system. If you are going to use your loans, you have to complete entrance counseling and a master promissory note with the federal government. So accepting your loans on the Max portal is you telling Millersville that you want to accept your loans. If you want, sorry, I saw somebody raise their hand. If you can just put your question in the Q&A, that'll be really helpful. Once you accept your loans, that tells Millersville that you want to use your loans to cover your bill. You then need to tell the federal government to send us the money. So the master promissory note is a legal document that they require you to sign. And that is just you telling them, I promise I'm going to pay you back after I graduate. The entrance counseling is their way of explaining to you what you're getting into by borrowing a loan. So they go over budgeting, interest rates, how much you're going to owe after graduation, repayment plans. It's like an online tutorial to help you understand what it is that you're going to do. And both of those can be done on studentaid.gov with the login that you use to create your or to file your FAFSA. And if you follow us on social media, we actually have a post talking about entrance counseling and NPN coming out in a few days. And so there are two policies that I wanted to talk to you about quickly because now that you're an incoming student, it's the perfect time to tell you about it because later it might become an issue. The first one is a course program of study. Your financial aid can only pay for courses that are within your degree. So for example, if you are a biology major who's exhausted all of their electives, or their general electives, you can't take a sculpting class your junior year because that doesn't fulfill credits towards your degree. If you have a general elective available and it fits under there, then that's perfect. But this is really important to know, especially if you're switching majors, if you are trying to take different opportunities, talk to your advisors, talk to our office to see if the courses are going to fit, because it's important that you get credit for it and that you're able to use your financial aid and don't have to pay for it out of pocket. The other big one is satisfactory academic progress. And if there is anything you take away from our webinar today, the first one is you should have gotten your offer letter. And if you haven't, to contact our office. And the second one is satisfactory academic progress. This is a really big one. Once you start attending Millersville, you have to meet academic progress in order to keep your financial aid. What that means is after 4 semesters here, you have to have at least a 2.0 GPA and you need to earn a 67% of the credits that you attempt. And a lot of the time when I say that to students, they're like, a 67% is a D. That's totally doable. I can totally do that. That's not a problem. And it is pretty low and it is doable. The issue becomes when we drop a class because we have too many on our schedule and we can't focus, or we have to, we don't like the professor, or we change our major, or down the line it can become an issue. So before you drop a class or you make any changes, we always encourage students to come talk to our office, because you don't want to be in a situation later where you're going to have to pay your classes out of pocket. just because you didn't take this into consideration. And we're happy to talk to you about all of this. That's for federal financial aid. So the Pell Grant, the student loans, that stuff. FIA is the PA state grant. And their SAP measurement is a little bit different. Basically, you have to earn at least 12 credits if you're full-time or 6 credits if you're part-time to receive the grant. And we review these every year at the end of the spring semester. And we will send you notifications and let you know where you are in that process. I don't know what that's doing. And that's really all I have for you today. I do have some key reminders for you. We want to make sure that you start the financial aid process early. You're going to need to renew your FAFSA every year that you're enrolled. It's important to do that. I know most of you know, or all of you know, the issues that the FAFSA had this year, but it should be open on October 1st of every year moving forward. And if it's not, we will keep you informed. We'll tell you when it's becoming available. But you have to do it every year. So start the process early. Use us. We're here to help you. You want to check your Millersville email. Now that you're a confirmed student, we are only emailing your @millersville.edu email. And we're sending a lot of information to that email address. So make sure that you're checking that on a weekly basis or on a daily basis. Add it to your phone because that's where you're going to be able to see everything that you're receiving. You want to monitor your Myville and Max portal for all of your financial aid updates and requirements. We're adding and changing things all of the time. So if today you don't see anything, check back in a week. Maybe something else was added. If there are any contributors, guardians, mentors, anybody on this call who is helping a student throughout this process, make sure that you empower the student to be an advocate for themselves. There are so many times that we have students come to our office and they have mom on FaceTime or grandma on FaceTime, and they were like, my mom told me to come here, and then we're talking to the mom on FaceTime, which is fine. We want to talk to you. We're happy to help answer questions. But make sure that the student knows what's going on and they're not completely checked out of whatever the question or the issue is. Make sure that you're managing your loan debt responsibly. If you know that your bill is covered with a $5,000 loan, don't take out a $15,000 loan and get that refund and spend it on TV, shoes, trips, because that's all money that you're going to have to pay back later. It's all money that has interest rates on it. So make sure that you're borrowing responsibly. And if I haven't said it enough throughout this webinar, we are here to help you. Our whole job is to help you through this process. We love what we do. We love talking to students. And if you guys have any questions at all, please email us, call us, come see us in person. We have one-on-one appointments every day available for students to sign up for. And we can go through all of this individually with you, your family, anybody that you need to help answer any questions you might have. Does anybody have any questions that weren't able to be answered in the chat? Because I was not following along. You can raise your hand and I can answer. Katie.
Sorry. Okay. I did submit for my financial aid. However, I did have an issue and I was interacting with the office for a while about it. That was maybe like 2 weeks ago now. Should I email them again? Because they did tell me they would get back to me, but it has been a hot minute.
Okay. Yeah, so you can email us, and it might be, there's a lot of issues with the FAFSA that we can't answer yet. And so a lot of the time we're saying, give us a couple days and we might have an answer. We're still working through all of the issues with that the FAFSA had this year, but email us again if you haven't gotten an answer. Our response rate, I think, is 1 to 3 business days. So if it's been more than that, then by all means, email us again and ask for an update.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Zachary.
So I had submitted my FAFSA a few weeks back, and there might be something wrong with it because I've still not gotten my financial offer. I heard we were supposed to get that in the meeting here. Should I go back and look through it, or should I like email you guys and see how we can figure that out?
Yeah, you can just send us an email and say that you completed it. If you know the day that you completed it, you can just include that in your email. And then one of the counselors will look to see if we can see it on the Department of Ed's database. If not, then we will let you know whatever's missing, or we might have to schedule an appointment to kind of troubleshoot what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? I know that Brandon and Joey are still answering some questions. Okay, I saw the one that says, when should I expect to hear back from FIA? My application has been stuck in review for a couple of weeks. If you already did your application with FIA on the Grantus portal, then I would just say to give it a couple more weeks. They are still just trying to get people to apply to finish the applications, or to even get access to their system. I think once they're done with that piece, they'll start processing applications. If you did it, you have nothing to worry about. You should be good for now. Tammy.
Yes, would you just clarify again or just explain what is the difference again between like Max, Myville, Sam's, my spy portal? Like there's like 4 different things.
Yes.
Like what goes to what?
Yes, let me go back to the login screen and I can help explain that. So Spyglass is through admissions. That's your admitted student portal. That's where you see your acceptance letter, any information that admissions is trying to get to you. Right, Joni? You can just nod your head. Yeah, okay. Myville and Max work together. Myville, and they're both our systems to share information across campus. So Myville will link to Max, and Max will link to Myville if necessary. But you go in there to fulfill financial aid requirements. That's where students will register for classes. They'll submit clearances if they need them for student teaching or anything like that. That's where students can update their address. It's sort of like their main system. D2L is where students will have access to their class information. Starfish is where they can communicate with professors, and professors can set flags if they have a concern for a student, or set reminders and things like that. Does that help answer your question? Oh, and Sam, sorry, is not named after me, even though I feel like that was a missed opportunity for them. It is the student account manager portal. That is where students will receive the bill. They can set up payment plans, refunds, and then they can also add a third-party proxy that can access their billing information, account activity, and all of that.
Thank you very much. That explains.
There's a lot of portals, I know.
Yeah, it's like, why don't they just have one big one? But I get it. Okay, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Of course. Any other financial aid questions I can help answer, or general questions like that? I know there's some in the chat we haven't gotten to. Eve, Joni, I'll turn it over to you in a second.
So if we have grant money, is there a process we need to set up billing?
So if you're off, you mean like the Pell Grant or the PA State Grant?
Yeah.
So that will automatically be added to your account if you're eligible for it, and it'll automatically credit your bill. There's nothing extra you need to do. You do need to do your terms and conditions, which is on your MyBill, that screen that I showed. And then if you're getting a refund for any reason because your grants are more than your charges, you can set up a refund plan or a refund preference on the SAM portal, the Student Account Manager, so that the Office of Student Accounts knows that if you have a refund, they know to either send you a paper check home, or you can set up for direct deposit, whatever's easier for you. Savannah?
Oh, so I had a question. So I got this letter from the DEA. It's something like chapter 35. So it would be like paying for school, and it said I had to like turn it in to the Millersville Certification Officer. Can I just email that to him, or do I have to bring it in person?
You can just email that to our office. And Brandon, who's actually on the call, is our certifying official. And he will take care of certifying that for you. Brandon, you can unmute yourself if I say the wrong thing, but I believe you also will need to do a enrollment certification form, which you can do online. And it just tells him what benefits you're applying for, how many credits you're taking, and all of that. And then he will process that along with the paper that you have, the letter you have.
You nailed it, Sam. That's pretty much it. For the fall semester, that won't be submitted until closer to when that semester starts, but you are welcome to send that to me as soon as you have everything you need and are ready to go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Joni, I think they're all yours.
Well, I appreciate that was a lot of information.
Lot.
Sam, would you mind stop sharing so we can be back to full screen just in case we have some friends on here? So lots of questions tonight, lots of good information, a big appreciation to everyone in the chat. We will continue to answer questions for the next little bit while we do a little bit of wrap up. Do know that we are all available by email as well. And so if you're not able to get your question answered tonight, please send us an email. We'll put those handles in the chat so that you're able to be in touch with us. And as always, in your My Spyglass portal, you will have the contact information of your admissions counselor. And so please feel free to be in touch with me and my team as well. A few things I wanted to discuss before we wrap up tonight, some big housekeeping items that a number of you have had questions about. First of which is portals, right? And so Sam did a great job walking us through the variety of portals. And it's important to know that specifically your My Spyglass portal is the one that you will stop using once you enroll this fall. And so that is truly your admissions portal on your way in the door. That's a good way to think of the Spyglass, is looking ahead to the future, right? Getting all of those pieces ready before you jump in with 2 feet in August. So I wanted to address that piece. And also generally, if you find yourself stuck, first and foremost, like I said, reach out to all of us here at the Ville, but also the first place to check will be your My Spyglass. So we had a number of questions tonight that I was directing people to the My Spyglass, where we have a lot of important information linked for you, including placement exams. And so wanted to take just a few minutes to talk about placement testing. I'm going to drop a number of links for you all in the chat as it relates to placement testing. This information is also linked in your portal to the main placement testing page. And so all students are required to take the math placement exam. The only students who are able to have that waived are students who are transferring in a 100 level or better math course from dual enrollment or college in the high school. And so you are able to take the math placement at home, and we now allow students to take the math placement up to 5 times. And so we're getting a lot of questions about when should I have this done? The answer is as soon as possible. So the reason that we need this information is this is how we ultimately schedule you for your math course at Millersville. Ideally, we'd like to get as many students into math courses this fall. And so it's important for us to have that score to be able to schedule you for your first math class. Do know that schedules are subject to change until the start of the semester, and the registrar is starting to create those for all first-time students, while transfer students are also working through creating their schedules with their academic advisors. Students who do not take the placement test in time to be scheduled for a math course will still be required to take the math placement to be scheduled for a spring math course. And so my 2 cents, especially since you have 5 times to repeat the ALEX math placement, I encourage you to start it as soon as possible. The reason that we've created the math placement style the way that we have, with students being able to take it up to 5 times, is to encourage you to improve your score if you're not happy with that first score, right? And so I was working with a student just the other day who their math requirement for their major in computer science is calculus 1. And it's important for us to be able to get you into those classes that are going to be required for your program. So while we don't necessarily have a deadline for math placement, it is in your best interest to start taking the math placement. Again, you can take it up to 5 times. I also dropped the link for the basic skills test. So the basic skills test is an entrance exam specifically required for students going into education. Again, this is linked on that first link that I sent in the chat to give you insight on exactly the programs that do require you to take this exam. The basic skills test is going to be given in person. That is not a virtual exam. That is going to be held in person at our summer Qs this summer, as well as on August 22nd. So I'm going to talk about summer Qs in just a second, along with all of the opportunities that will come with that. Lastly is the chemistry placement. So in most cases, if you are a science student, you will be required to take the chemistry placement. Chemistry placement can only be taken once, and it is available online and in person. And so generally, all 3 of these placement exam opportunities will also be available at our in-person summer Q opportunities, which are scheduled for July 11th and 12th and the 18th and 19th. You should have received registration to register for the summer Qs. If you missed it or you happen to misplace it, you are able to log into your My Spyglass. On the right-hand upper side, you will see a big button that says register now for the academic sessions as well as our summer Q programming. I'm going to drop the link for the My Spyglass one more time. As I had mentioned, this is where you're going to just find a lot of information in the admissions office. Anything that is important to you on your way in, we are trying our best to link out in the My Spyglass. You also have access to the map, the Millersville Arrival Program, which I also encourage you to continue working through over the next several weeks. Modules are released and modules will continue to release. And this is information that you will need to know on your way into the Ville. And so again, you'll notice in college, it's really about your time, right? It's important that you make this time to walk through these pieces in order to have a smooth start to the academic semester this fall. Lastly, as it relates to the summer Qs, we do have 4 opportunities. These are truly optional opportunities. And so we understand that not every student is able to make it to campus on multiple occasions, which is the reason we're having a number of virtual sessions this summer to meet everyone where they are, including on the beach. But we encourage you to come to campus for a summer Q. It's going to be a really cool opportunity to kind of wrap up that fine print. If you want to talk to financial aid one more time, maybe you want to get your student ID while you're on campus. We're going to have some really good food and meet some future classmates. And so the summer Qs, while very informal, we'll have a few sessions for your parents. We'll have a couple sessions for you. Again, we'll have placement testing opportunities at all of our summer Qs, and you get to have a great meal on campus. So kind of a win-win across the board. The last thing I'm going to leave you with tonight is just a couple of reminders. So this is our first week of virtual orientation programming. So kudos for all of you joining us this evening. Tomorrow, we have our first academic session. If you did not register for your academic session, the link is in your My Spyglass. That registration link will take you to both your academic session as well as the summer Q link. And the academic sessions will be occurring tomorrow at noon to 12:45. We'll also then have an Honors College breakout from 1 to 1:45 that will happen directly after academic sessions. Thursday evening is going to be our new student meetup opportunity. So we encourage you to come on back. Obviously, you guys are getting to know each other. You're chatting in Zeme, which is great. But this is going to be an opportunity to connect with some of our orientation leaders and really get a sense of what's to come. We're going to have some breakout rooms that's going to put you with some like-minded students, starting to get you connected with folks on campus, and hopefully answer those questions that maybe you don't want people like Sam and I to answer, but you really want to get it directly from the students. And so we're going to have that opportunity for you. Generally, across the board, we understand that not every student is able to make every session. Okay, so we have multiple sessions throughout the summer, and I highly encourage you to attend as many as you are able. We've had a number of questions about changing work schedules. We're not trying to have you lose out on money, all right, over these virtual sessions, but it is important if you're able to make the time to please try to join us. So if you're not able to make a Squawk session, we have 2 more, one in July, one in August. These will be recorded and shared out to you and your families. Will also be available online. If you're not able to make an academic session, feel free to reach out to your counselor so that we can get you in touch with the chair of your academic department. You'll also have another opportunity to connect with your department right before the start of the semester in August. And then lastly, if you're not able to join the new student meetups, Zemi is a really great place to connect with students. It is an app that you can download right onto your phone, similar to Discord if you're familiar with that. And those are the big updates. So again, feel free to go to your Spyglass for this information, as well to the new student orientation page online to get the rest of your dates and details. And we are excited to see you online again tomorrow and hopefully Thursday. Again, we are here to answer your questions, but we appreciate you joining us tonight. I will also put the admissions contact here in the chat, so feel free to be in touch with both of our offices so that we can get you what you need to get ready for the fall.